I'm going to go ahead and get right to the point and make a bold statement. So just in case you don't want to hear the rest after this statement, I totally understand. Here's my bold statement that I want to make. Wealth building is not just biblical, but wealth building is one of the most spiritual things you can do as a human living on this planet. Yes, I said it. If you stop the video now, I totally understand. But for those of you that keep the video rolling, let me contextualize what I just said. Wealth building is not just biblical because it is biblical, but it is one of the most spiritual things that we can do. How do I contextualize it? Well, Deuteronomy 8:18, if you read that scripture, it says that God gives you and I power to get wealth. He don't give us wealth. He gives us the power to get wealth. I believe that power is the ingenuity, the capacity, the God-given ability to take in information, process information, and put that information to practice on a human level. So Deuteronomy 8:18 establishes that wealth building is biblical. Now, the other part that I said in my bold statement is that wealth building is one of the most spiritual things that you can do. Why do I say that? Well, if you are a man or woman of faith, then don't you believe in prayer? Yeah, I'm asking you, do you believe in prayer? Do you believe in reading the Bible as a man or woman of faith? Do you believe in serving as a man and woman of faith? Like, I could go through a whole list of a lot of things we as people of faith, Christian believers, that we adhere to, that we dedicate our lives to because we believe these things are spiritual. It is very spiritual for me to pray, Our Father, which art in heaven. It is spiritual to quote scriptures. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. It is spiritual for me to show up to church, pay my tithes, give an offering, serve on a ministry, help the community through philanthropy and humanitarian efforts. I believe those things are spiritual. Well, guess what? Building wealth is just as spiritual as those things. Because when you see wealth building, not just as biblical, but also as one of the most spiritual things you can do, it changes your commitment to doing it. Most people, believers included, are not committed to building wealth because, number one, they don't see it as biblical. They see it as unbiblical. I know people who see it as demonic, which surprisingly, some of the same people who see wealth building as unbiblical and demonic chase after money 40 plus hours a week on this thing that they call a job. While they're on their way to work, they're fussing and huffing and puffing at people like me because they believe we are unbiblical. We are talking about demonic mammon that has nothing to do with God or the Bible, but you chasing after money. It makes absolutely no sense. So once you're able to embrace the revelation that building wealth is biblical, building wealth is one of the most spiritual things you can do, it then opens you up to start establishing a foundation of principles that you can then put to practice. So, for example, wealth building is biblical. It is spiritual, but it's also economical. When you look at the word economical or economic or economy, it has its roots in a household. The actual meaning of economy is tied to a household, which suggests that when you have an economy, you have a household that you take responsibility for. So when I see wealth building as economical, I see it as my way to take responsibility for my home. So now I take wealth building personal because it's tied to my wife, my children, my grandchildren, my household, my name, my legacy, in which I'm responsible for all of those individuals who are part of my household. So now I take it personal, and I'm not going to let poverty ramshack my house. I'm not going to let drought and lack and not enough and struggle and worry and stress overtake my family. So now building wealth is not just biblical and spiritual, it's economical. And once I establish that on top of the biblical aspect, spiritual aspect, and now the economic aspect, I can see wealth building as mental because it creates this mindset of abundance because I know there's no shortage on this planet. There's no shortage of water on this planet. there's no shortage of air on this planet. Truth is, ain't no shortage of land mass on this planet. There's no shortage of life on this planet. And it's sure enough, ain't no shortage of money and opportunities unless I don't have that biblical, spiritual, economical, and mental foundation. So again, that's my bold statement. I'm sticking with it because wealth building is biblical. It is spiritual. It is economical. It is mental. And guess what? It can be inevitable for you if you're willing to accept it, embrace it, and put it to practice. I'll see you in the next video.